Good afternoon, everyone. Good to see everyone out on this crisp fall day. I saw a lady holding on to a hairpiece earlier today because it was moving. So, not a day to wear, loose clothing or hair pieces. But everyone looks great. It's good to see everyone, and we're going to kick off the meeting with prayer by Dr. LaBar.
This will be the last day for short britches. I've got a feeling. So would you join me in the spirit of prayer? Eternal God, we give you thanks for the blessings of this day, for the rain that we had this past week, which didn't come with near the amount of excitement as we thought, but it was a nice rain, and it nourished the ground, and it nourished our soul. We ask your spirit to be upon us, upon this club, to bless the work that we do, to bless the food that is prepared before us, and to keep us this day in your peace. In the name of the Christ. Amen. Now, Linda asked me if I would take just a moment, since I was up here, to talk about why I am in Rotary. I came to Rotary in 2005 when I was appointed to Plymouth Park United Methodist Church. Dr. Oberlin, the late Dr. Oberlin, came to see me 2 weeks after I was at the church and said, I'm taking you to Rotary because it's very important to me that my pastor be a member of the Rotary Club. And that was that. And I was a member 14 years, perfect attendance. When Karen Berlin left after the first year, I took on the Blade, and I did the Blade for 13 years. Even when I was in Mexico, we actually won an award for that. And the Blade saved me in another thing, because just a few months after I was at the church, I was having dinner with the Oberlins, and Mary Oberlin, who still occasionally calls me Dr. LaBar, what are you going to do to get involved in the city of Irving? And I said, Mary, for crying out loud, I'm still trying to sew up the holes in the sack at the church. She says, how much time do you need? I said, give me a year. It's like the sword of Damocles hanging over my head. So when I started doing the Blade, then Mary kind of got off my case. And since then, of course, I've invited a number of city events, and I build flags now for the Rotary Club. And Rotary is what has really helped me in the 14 years that I served that church before I retired, that to get involved in the community and to be well known in the community, to where I've been able to have the opportunity to do a lot of other stuff in the community. So that's why I am a Rotarian. It's because Dr. Oberlin said, you're going to be a member of the Rotary Club. And I said, yes, sir. So there we go.
Well, before we have our God Bless America song, and led by our favorite leader, I'd like for us to take a moment and remember Ryan Manny. He is the director of our speakers, our programs. Unfortunately, he lost his mother this week, and let's just pause for a moment and remember Ryan. Thank you. Now we'll enjoy God Bless America. Oh, the pledge. I'm sorry. I'm just moving it fast forward. I see him standing over there. I'm like, let's bring him forward. Richard Raymond will lead us with the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless America. Okay, at this time we'll have the introduction of guests with our secretary, Tracy Love. It's good to have Tracy back too. Let's give her one. Okay, at this time, our president-elect, Shane Webb, will introduce our guest speaker. Thank you, Shane.
Thank you, Madam President. Friends, it is my pleasure to introduce to you Holly Hollenbeck, and she is the District 5810 Membership Director. And so it is a privilege for us to have her with us this day as we try to increase our membership here and let people know about this wonderful club and all the ways that we are in service to our community. And today I'm filling in for Ryan. So I'm going to let Holly give some more introduction to herself. So Holly, if you will join us, we are so thankful that you have come to speak to us this day. We can't wait to hear what you have to say about membership and other things in our district. Thank you, Holly.
So I apologize. I'm walking up here texting my boss because, of course, Murphy's Law, he texted a few minutes ago and said, you need to send me a couple paragraphs on a claim success story for work ASAP. So I just did that. Hopefully it came out okay. So in any case, I'm not here to talk about my job, but I will mention that my Rotary job is about membership, and I come from up north and new to Dallas right before COVID, and I was membership chair up there, came down here and was asked to be the district membership chair down here after I joined a Rotary Club here in the Dallas area. So I'm very happy to be here today because I'm very passionate about Rotary and about our opportunity to continue to do great service, not just locally, but around the world. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And if you could go to slideshow, there we go. All right, and you're going to be advancing for me, or do I have a clicker? You're going to be advancing for me? Okay, so very good. So the one thing I want to start with is talk about why do we need to talk about membership today? You have a thriving club. You have a really good club. I understand that. And you have been adding some members. However, clubs as a whole in our district are shrinking by about 3%. So the problem with that is that if we continue in this district and in the United States of America, which is also shrinking at about 2 to 3%, we will not have Rotary in 30 years in the United States of America. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. I mean, that's a horrifying thought, right? We are seeing growth in other parts of the world in Rotary, but in the USA, because of the changing environment, even before COVID, that's okay. Even because of the changing environment with social media and whatnot and other types of activities, Rotary is not getting in enough new members to cover the loss of members. So we're going to talk today about what each of us, in the words of our international president, need to be doing. Each one bring one. That's our new Rotary International President's motto, is to each one bring one. So what does that mean for us today? We're going to talk about that. We need to expand our reach by not only attracting, but making sure we're engaging current members and then retaining those members through that engagement. So it's a 3-step process, and this is something we're all responsible for, as our Rotary president has said. Next one. This quote I like very much. My predecessor, Ian, actually used to use this in his membership presentations, but the electric light does not come from continuous improvement of the candle. And I want to point that out, is that we do get a little set in our ways in Rotary, we get comfortable with our friends and our neighbors in our Rotary clubs, and we get comfortable with the way we've always done things. But we have to think outside the box and make sure that we're being progressive in how we handle Rotary and Rotary expansion. And so that's what we're going to talk today about what we need to do to think outside the box and really do what our Rotary president asks of us. Each one bring one. So I'm going to mention briefly alternate model clubs, and I would challenge you and your board and your officers here to come up with one member here in this club who can look into alternative club models. And what does that mean for your club? It means maybe adding a satellite club to your membership. That allows for some people to become part of your club that maybe can't come very often or can only come on set online ways. So there's different alternative subsets of clubs that we can add to our club to help expand Rotary for those that maybe can't come every Friday for lunch or Thursday. Today's Thursday, every Thursday for lunch. So other ideas are Rotaract and Interact clubs. If you guys do not currently have a Rotaract or Interact club, it's a wonderful way to engage young people, and those are our future. So if they get involved in Interact and then they get involved in Rotaract, that's a stepping stone to becoming Rotarians, as you all know. So it's very important that you challenge one member of your club to be responsible for looking into some of these alternative club methods, and then reporting back to you all as members and deciding what can we do in the way of an alternative club model that could help grow our club. Next. So here's a couple more. I already mentioned satellite affinity clubs and cause-based clubs. You know, it doesn't have to be just this member that you're going to ask and task with looking into alternative clubs. Maybe it's not a sub club that you add to yours like a satellite club. Maybe you look into going to a corporation and asking if they want to have a corporate membership here. Providing other means to develop this club in the way of memberships is important. And an affinity club is also one. If your particular company, you could if you belong to a large organization, they could actually have a club that meets at their place of business, and all of the members are from that particular company. So that's another way to grow. And we as Rotarians in our current clubs, we have to help instigate these sort of club models and help the outreach. So like I said, I challenge your club to come up with one person who could take on the responsibility of looking into these different types of alternative club ideas and seeing if there's a way that they couldn't instigate it. So for instance, the cause-based mention here, we actually had a Rotarian at the Uptown Club. She started up a cause-based club regarding suicide. And so our district has a brand new cause-based club about suicide prevention, and it has 50 members starting off right off the blocks. So it's a wonderful way to help our district and grow Rotary and really establish an idea-based. If there's something you're extremely passionate about, you can still be a part of this club, but you could start a cause-based club. Maybe it's about homelessness. Maybe it's about disabled adults or blind children or suicide prevention or vets, veterans. If you'd start a veterans club. So there's a lot of ways we can expand. So if someone would take on that responsibility to look into this and help gather ideas from amongst your club members as to what you could do in the way of growing Rotary through an alternative club method. So that being said, we're going to move on to how do we get young people? How do we get the youth to join our club? And this is a problem nationally here in the USA. We need to find a way to appeal to young people, and we need to look at ways to do that. And so one of the number one suggestions I have for you today is you may already have a club brochure or a club handout about your club. Is that correct? Do you have something like that? Okay, well, how about put together a brag sheet? Do you have a brag sheet? Do you have any idea what I might mean by a brag sheet? You can definitely brag about that. Brag about obviously the community service you're involved with, brag about the awesome speakers you have, brag about anything you do in the way of a fun social. Those are also awesome brags. But I'm also talking about bragging about your members and how they can be a mentor to a new young person. All right. So if you go through, I bet you could come up with a whole bunch of really impressive things you could say about your members. You may have an executive chef who used to, run a Michelin star restaurant. Maybe you have a general or a retired major colonel in the military, or maybe you have a CEO of a company or a retired CEO. Maybe you have an accomplished attorney. Maybe you have a successful small business owner, or 2 or 3 or 4. So list out these brags about these wonderful people that are part of this club, and mention what is so impressive about them, and then mention this in the context of them being mentors. So why am I suggesting this? When you hand out your club brochure and you're handing it out to a young person, or to your your young adult child's friend, or somebody you come in contact with in the business world who's a customer or a vendor or a church member of yours, when you're reaching out to people, if you show them, look, part of Rotary, yes, the most amazing thing is we are a community service organization, and we are about people of action, service above self. But we also have an amazing list of fantastic members in our club, and you get to network and mentor with them. And this is another big selling point of why you, Mr. and Mrs. Young Girl and Guy, might want to join our club, because it's an opportunity to meet the movers and shakers in Las Colinas, right? This is an opportunity for you to learn from these wonderful mentors and the fantastic speakers that come here every single week to share and help. It will not only advance your career, but get you more involved in your community first and foremost. So this is a wonderful tool that a lot of old clubs with older experts aren't considering doing. And this is a wonderful way to bring in young people, is to create that brag sheet. And you know what, also as part of that brag sheet creation is each week you could spotlight somebody in your, or each month, however often your newsletter comes out, spotlight one of your members, because that helps engage current members and helps other members in your club learn about each other. And wow, I didn't realize she had won a trophy for such and such in college, or is an avid quilter who has sold quilts for $400 or whatever the skill, the talent, the thing is that you can brag about. Let's get it out there in a member spotlight each week in a newsletter, or each time your meeting notice goes out, do a paragraph member spotlight about one of your members, and then add that person in a short sentence to your brag sheet, and get those brag sheets out as promotional. It's also a great way to just add to an email when you're reaching out to somebody and inviting them to Rotary. Say, by the way, attached is our brag sheet. These are our fantastic members of our club. So that is one way to do it. So, you're producing and sharing with guests and prospects your membership, your brag sheet. You're listing your projects, your fabulous speakers, like she said right here, your socials, and you're also doing that member spotlight. So next screen. So now, how do we make sure that we're being an inclusive club? A lot of us that are in big corporations, we are getting inclusivity and diversity training quite regularly these days. And it's really important and is making a difference, because we don't realize how, unfortunately, we are sometimes not being as inclusive and welcoming as we need to be. And this is a very important goal of Rotary International for every single one of us members, to make sure that our clubs reflect our community. The diversity in our community should be reflected in our clubs. And if we look around right now and we realize that's not the case, then we need to do something about it. So talk about diversity with your club members and create an action plan on how you're going to get your club to be more diverse. Invite local community leaders that are of diverse backgrounds. Maybe even have a panel as your speaker one week, a panel of community individuals, or a panel of diverse members of this particular club. Have them up on a panel and have a presentation on inclusivity and what your club can do to increase its membership, to make it reflect more of what our community shows us. And then, other local organizations in the area, and make sure you're inviting organizations of diversity to come speak at your club. Next screen. Oh, Okay, so as continuation of what I was just talking about, another idea that has grown, one of our clubs, Plano West, has a community advisory board. They actually reached out to community leaders at various community service organizations and asked a mover or shaker to come be part of an advisory board to help advise this club on how and what it can be doing to be more involved in this community, how and what it can be doing to be more inclusive of and reflective of the community, and also inviting those community advisory board and members of their organizations to come volunteer at your projects. So they don't have to be a member. You're inviting the community here in Las Colinas to come partake and volunteer at your community service clubs. That's how Plano West added nearly 50 members in 1 year. 50 members in 1 year. And they did that because they had this advisory board of community leaders, and they invited those other clubs members to come participate in their socials, and more importantly, come participate in their community service projects. So if you're not already inviting the community to come participate in your next community service project, I highly recommend you do. Those people that volunteer with us often become interested and want to find out more about Rotary and its wonderful works. And that's a great source of new members. So that is what brings us to my first point, which this is not low-hanging fruit. This is fruit on the ground, okay? All you have to do is bend over and pick it up, right? So first of all, when I send you a lead from the district website or from Rotary International, people indicate that they're interested in Rotary. And I send out an email and I say they're interested in Rotary in the Las Colinas area. And I copy your president and the morning club president. You have to follow up, and because it's fruit on the ground. They're already interested in Rotary. So we have to make sure we engage them and bring them out to our club and keep at them, because sometimes people, the process can take quite a while. You get them out once to your club, and then you can't just forget about them. You have to keep reaching out until you've bugged them to death to join, right? Okay. So Rotary alumni, who used to be part of this club, maybe it's time to reach out to them and invite them back, even if they just left last year. It's amazing the power of, please come back, we miss you, and how much that can mean to them. And that's not low hanging fruit, I'm sorry, that's fruit on the ground. If you give out any sort of, or involved in any college scholarship recipients, four-way test participants, RALA, Rotary Youth Leadership members, or Rotaract members that you are aware of or have had involvement with your club. If you haven't already invited those individuals to become part of your club, then you've missed a piece of fruit on the ground that's sitting there rotting. So time to reach out to those people. Now, this is not low-hanging fruit. This next screen is very low-hanging fruit, okay? So how many of you go to a dry cleaners? How many go to a dentist? How many go to a doctor? How many go to a restaurant regularly, the same restaurant? Okay, there's lots of hands being raised, okay. Have you ever asked your dentist, your accountant, your local restaurateur, whether it's the general manager or the owner of your favorite restaurant, your dry cleaner, your dentist, what else? What other businesses do you frequent right here in Las Colinas? Have you invited that business owner or that business manager to come visit Rotary? That's very low hanging fruit. They're right here doing business in your community. They would love to be part of this organization, but nobody's asked them. I was at a club recently giving it, and I'm not going to throw them under the bus, but I was at a club recently speaking, and they meet at a restaurant, a regular restaurant. And I said, is this a locally owned restaurant? And they said, yes. And I said, have you ever invited the owner of the restaurant you meet at every week to come to one of your Rotary meetings? And they said, no. I mean, you're meeting and giving them business every single week. Invite that owner to come to your club meeting and engage with them and invite them to join your club. He has quite a bit of incentive to do so, wouldn't you say? So in any case, I'm just saying that is very low hanging fruit, right? These are people you do business with regularly. And it's wonderful for them to engage with the community once they learn about Rotary. And so many people right under our noses do not understand or know anything about what Rotary has to offer. And we all know how wonderful it is. So get them your brochure, get them your brag sheet, and invite them to a meeting, right? So I'm going to stop right here for a second and say, what was the Rotary? Who remembers what Rotary International President's motto is for this year regarding membership? I've said it like 3 times. Who can remember? Yes, each one bring one. So what I am proposing for each and every one of you, whether you're online weekly or whether you're here in person or both, whichever you choose to do, I invite you each week or once time a month at least. That's your minimum required. Once a month, bring a guest. Can you do that? Once a month. That's not a big deal, right? Once a month, you bring a guest. Okay. How many guests is that in 12 months? 12 guests, right? Or you meet just twice a month? Okay, 6 guests. Okay, well, whether it's whatever it is, you have 6 or 12. You said you only meet twice a month? Every week, so that's 12 guests. All right, so out of those 12 guests, can you get one of them to join? You have 12 guests that have now engaged. You've given them brochures, you've reached out to them, they've come to a meeting, you brought them to a social, or you brought them to a community service project. That's 12 very low hanging fruit that all you have to do is get one of them to sign up. And then what have you done? Each one brought one. Just think, if we all did that, Rotary in the United States would double in 1 year's time. And we will have met the request of our international president. It's not just about, every Rotarian every year donation. It's not just about coming to, the vast majority of meetings. It's about making sure that our Rotary that we love and hold dear is here in 30 years, still making an incredible difference in the world and in our community. And it gives me absolute chills to think that if we don't do that, if we don't make that happen, there's no one else that will, right? There's no one else that will. We have to, each one of us. So I'm just asking you once a month, make a point of asking one of these people, somebody from your church, somebody from whose business you frequent, maybe a vendor or a client of yours in your professional world, or a customer of yours. Invite them to Rotary. Does anybody have a unique story on how they joined Rotary? On how they were asked by someone to come to a meeting? I see some heads nodding. Does anybody want to come up and tell their story real quick? I'll start with mine. I had someone who I didn't really even know well, but was a vague business acquaintance on LinkedIn. And I got a LinkedIn message one time, 10 years ago, said, hey, come to Rotary for lunch on me this coming week. And I responded and said, what's Rotary? And he responded and sent me the link to Rotary.org, which, by the way, if you haven't gone to Rotary.org, it's an incredible brochure for what we do and who we are. I mean, they hired the best of the best worldwide PR people to put together our brochure, which is our homepage of Rotary.org. And if you go to that, I mean, you send a young person to that, it's impressive, okay? And they will want to know more, and they will want, so you can even put that in your first message, right? You can put that in your first email, and you can just say, hey, come to Rotary as my guest next Thursday. And that's what happened to me. Some vague acquaintance on LinkedIn invited me to a Rotary meeting. And here I am 10 years later, a devoted and devout Rotarian. And I am going to do everything in my power to make sure that Rotary's here next year, 10 years, 20 years, and 30 years from now. So reach out to those LinkedIn associates, reach out to your Facebook friends, post regularly. Let's go to the next screen and talk about posting. I think it's next. Or we have a couple of low hanging fruit suggestions. We did all those. Let's move on to the next screen. All right, so social media. How many's on Facebook? Raise your hand. How many's on LinkedIn? Raise your hand. Anybody on Twitter or Instagram? Raise your hand. Okay. So how many of you post about Rotary regularly? Raise your hand. Oh, wonderful, wonderful resource just lost. You have connections, both business-wise, personal, relations, you know, old high school friends. You've got lots of people on your social media accounts, right? And all you have to do is reach out to them and post to them. Can we go to the next screen? I'll show you a couple examples. So here's some examples of posts that I've done. So first of all, I post about, that first one is when we just got back after shelter in place and how giddy I was to be back at Rotary. So I took a picture of people having fun being back at Rotary, right? Then I also posted about something my old Rotary Club did from up north, because I thought it was a super cool story. And then I also posted and reposted, that last one is something that Rotary International posted on their website. So I'm on the Rotary International Facebook website. I'm on their Instagram account. So I get posts from them and I share those posts to my account because they're wonderful stories of the amazing stuff we're doing, not just locally, but internationally. And that picture right there, it speaks 1,000 words, doesn't it? Yeah. Next screen. So here's a couple more examples. The first one was posted about who our speaker was going to be that day. And the next screen there is posting about a social networking event that we had that I posted, encouraging people to come out that evening to our networking event. I was already there setting up when I took that and posted it online. Next screen. So this shows you before and after. If you do not post, and seriously, the more of you that do this, the more people you're going to reach. And I'm not talking about just doing this on your own club website. I'm talking about doing it in your personal social media accounts, because you know, you keep posting about it and then, oh my gosh, you send a message to one of those people or a link message like happened with me. And now I've seen some of your posts about the fabulous things you're doing with Rotary. And now you've personally reached out to me and invited me to a meeting. That's how you get your one guest every month. So here's a before and after. So this, before the event took place at noon on the day the event was going to start at 4, I posted about it and said, come on down, bring a toy and donate. We're going to be there from 4 to 6, I think it was. Yeah. And then after the event, I posted an after follow-up about the great success of the event and you know, showed some great pictures about it. So that's a lot of free PR, doesn't cost anything, doesn't take much time. And now everybody on your Facebook page, your LinkedIn account, your Instagram account is now aware of the great things you do at Rotary, right? So then when you ask them to come be a guest, and you can ask them in the post itself, but I think personal outreaches is the best way to get someone to come to be a guest. Next screen, please. So now we need to talk about membership drives. So we talked about what we could do as far as outreaches to people we know. And we talked about how we could use social media and personal invites. Now let's talk about a membership drive. Do you guys have an annual membership drive or a twice-a-year membership drive here at this club, where the focus every meeting for maybe a month is about membership? Oh my goodness, let's have some fun and do that. Okay, membership focus. So you're probably already doing the membership minute, which is the bottom bullet point here. So Rotary International has asked us, every one of our clubs, every club meeting, to do a membership minute at the podium. So if you're not doing that, let's add that, because that's easy and quick. So, and it's also a wonderful way to engage not only old members that have been here a long time, but also new members. So every week, your president or whoever you want to have be in charge of this, asks a member to come up and give a membership minute. Now you're saying, well, what's a membership minute? It could be anything from, this is how I became a member of Rotary. This is my story. Or this is my suggestion from Holly's slides of what we could be doing. You can talk about social media posting and get everybody to get their phone out and to like your Facebook page and to reach out to one of their Facebook friends and text them right then and there. That could be your membership minute. Your membership minute can be about some amazing project through Rotary that you've been involved with, that has always been a fond memory of yours from years back. Share that. That's your membership minute. It's engaging your current members. You got guests that day. It's helping them to recognize how. I've had people, more than one at our club, tear up during their membership minute because of something poignant they were sharing about their Rotary experience. So it's a wonderful opportunity to help engage new members and old members alike, and help visitors and guests to understand how much this means to us and why they might want to be a part of it. So what I'm suggesting as far as a membership drive, it could be for 1 month, it could be for 2 months, but have some sort of a contest, okay? You can do it by teams. You could have 5 teams of different colors, and you have a chart of the different colored teams, and every team member that brings a guest, you move forward on the chart or on the racetrack, and at the end of the 2 months or the end of the 6 weeks, which team won? The rest of the teams have to buy that team lunch or dinner or something, right? Have a reward, or it can just be a trophy they get, right? But the point is to challenge each other to make sure you're all bringing your one guest that month, and who can do more than that, right? Maybe you get 5 points if you bring in a member, or 10 points, and you get 1 point for every guest you bring. So those are some ideas for leadership boards. You could do it in individual winners. So whoever has, at the end of a 3-month or 6-month period, has brought in the most guests and the most members, that person gets a award, a gift card, or just the standing ovation of their fellow club members for a job well done, for being an excellent engaged Rotarian, right? All right. So that brings us to, and we're almost done, I promise, recognition awards. I was just saying what we could do in the way of recognizing. A wonderful engagement tool is to actually have an engagement award. So you set up a list of criterion, okay, attended all the socials, attended, charity project or community service projects, attended 90% of the meetings, You get a check mark for each one. And if you get all of them checked off, you get a certificate of engagement award for being an engaged Rotarian, and you get a handshake, and you get a photo at the front, and you get awarded by the recognition of your peers here that you have been an engaged Rotarian. And it means something. It means something to some of us. I think maybe it means something to all of us. So, and I think it challenges the rest of us to be more engaged, right? And get our engagement award. So I think that's a wonderful tool as well. So monthly engagement awards, weekly meeting minute memos, and any type of recognition or award for being an excellent Rotarian is always extremely helpful. Hopefully you do that at your year-end program, where you award Rotarians in your club for outstanding contributions. So please keep those in mind as another way to engage and retain current Rotarians. So that's it. So I welcome you to go to the Brand Center on Rotary.org, because not only the Brand Center, but the membership section on Rotary.org, it's wonderful tools. Brochures already made for you. Ideas already set out. The best of the best ideas have already been thought of, and they're on the membership section of My Rotary at Rotary.org. So go there, take a look at those ideas. Use my PowerPoint, send this out. Feel free to email this out to everyone in your club, including those people that couldn't be here today, and challenge each other to bring one member every month, or one guest every month, and one member sometime this Rotary year. All right, thank you. Anybody have any questions or ideas? I always ask because I may not have had a great idea up there that you have. So if you have any ideas or any suggestions for me, I would love to hear them right now. Yes.
I have a question. Is there a way in Rotary where we can give someone a dual membership, where they're in a club already, but they want to stay a member of that, but they're physically here? Can we, if they're going to pay dues and everything, can we make them a member?
So that would be something you would have to take up with your own bylaws, but yeah, you could set something up, or something more informally. I do know Rotary International allows for makeups at other clubs, so that individual could keep coming here and keep their membership at the other club, but every time they come here, that's considered a member makeup at their club. So they keep their membership requirements where they need to be. They're just paying dues at another club, and they're coming here as a guest frequently. And if you allow that, you allow that. It's really up to your club how you want to handle that. And if you want to allow someone to make that arrangement, you would have to reach out to that other club if you were going to somehow. But there's always a way, and Rotary.org is very interested in thinking outside the box. So there's, if you need help with that, I know the right people to talk to at Rotary.org that could help figure out the right way to set that up, other than just modifying your bylaws to allow for it. Okay, any other questions? Wow, quiet
Thank
group.
you, Holly.
Thank you.
We appreciate you. We appreciate you. Around growing our membership.
Very good.
Thank you.
It was very nice to be here today. Thank you for having me.
Some very excellent ideas, and I'm so proud to say that we are involved in a lot of those ideas, and we are all about growing membership. And thanks to our social media director, Jordan Alsop, he has made a huge difference for us. He's out there daily sharing with all the social media sites and promoting and helping everyone recognize and want to be a part of the Las Colinas Rotary Club. So, and I know everyone has it on their mind. We have social networking events quarterly to bring new possible members that cannot join us at noon. We are, I think, very adaptive and creative and desire to support and help everyone become a member of the Las Colinas Rotary Club. So thank you. Okay, so moving on, I see Rick's here. Rick, do you have anything to share about the flag program or anything for the good of the cause? Uh-huh, maybe 3. Do you need a microphone?
Ms. Kathy Howard has already kicked off the initiative.